Hey guys, Melissa here. So I just want to talk about a couple things about money. My pimples going away. Yay. I think I know what happened. I never have Oreo cookies in here. My kids brought in some Oreo cookies. My guys did. And I was just like, when's the last time I've had an Oreo cookie? Like 10 years, right? So as a kid, my mom used to buy me Oreo cookies. And I used to like take the chocolate, take the cookie apart, lick the frosting like most kids do, put the cookie back together. So I saw these cookies and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I just like, since like the last 5, 6 years, I have not been able to have chocolate. But I did not think, because I haven't had cookies in so long, that it would really be a problem. So yeah, I need to stay away from the cookies. Speaking of health, so more ways to help, single moms or just moms in general. You don't have to be single. You can be a mom like I am and just, without, I'm still married technically, but without a dad in the picture. You can just do this for yourself. You don't have to be a single mom. Find resources. Do not let your health take the back burner when it comes to, your money. Even if you don't have money, make sure you put your health first. And it doesn't have to cost that much to put your health first. If you're eating right, you're exercising. For the most part, I do eat right. I don't really eat candy. I don't really eat junk. I'm just not like that for the most part. My bad habit, though, is my soda, and that comes and goes. So I just got done talking to some people. So the dentist is calling me back. That one, I believe they scale your income for that. And then there is a doctor's that I was going to go to, but like it's way in Denver. And I'm like, no, it's just not worth my time to go over there. So I set up something more locally. And this is without Medicaid, if you don't have any insurance. And then I will be applying for Medicaid after. But go to the doctors even if you don't have the money. So I mean, like, I never go to the doctors just because I've always been really healthy. Plus I don't, I've avoided the doctors because of that whole abortion thing. That is one thing that women will say they usually do, is avoid the doctors. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, this wasn't just, it was just so invasive. And a doctor, we hear now, whether you have an abortion or not is between your doctor and you. No, it's not. I don't know why that ever happened. Anyone ever said that? Because no, it's not. You don't let a murderous doctor get away with things and say, oh, he's going to kill my baby and it's just between me and my doctor. No, it's not. He's just a man that needs to be held accountable, right, for killing your child. So anyways, when I had my kids, obviously that was a little invasive to me. One of my midwives was like, this is no time to be modest, Melissa. Open up. You're having a baby. And this was my third son, and he came out pretty fast. But I haven't really done a whole lot with the doctors because of that too. And I just take care of myself. So I do have to get a checkup for a mammogram again, and it's not something I want to do. I had my first one before I left New Hampshire. A couple lumps were found, and lately I'm just like, I probably should go back, and I'm kind of avoiding it. So I've been a little extra tired, so that's one thing I'm feeling, and then I've been really dizzy. There are night sweats, right, with getting older, but then there's like sweats throughout the whole day, and you're just kind of like, what is going on? So I am going to get a checkup now, and then what was the other thing? Oh, I have something else I need to have checked up on, but I'll talk about that another time. So yeah, and then yesterday when I went in to do the plasma, my cholesterol was low again. It was like, not cholesterol, low blood pressure was like 98/60, which I'm usually always 110 about, around there. I'm always low. So just don't let finances stop you. And another thing I wanted to talk to moms about is another way to save money, and I'll be doing this more on my channel, is homeschooling. Homeschooling allows you to save a ton of money. So I homeschooled for about 30 years. I'm probably going to be turning my channel a bit more into a homeschool channel where I've already done a lot of the work with the trauma, which is pretty much done. You know, and just go back into what I did do with my life, which was I was a family woman. I was just taking care of my family for like 30 years, and I will probably be talking about those ways now to save money as I work and talk about the small ways as you're homemaking. And I did stay home, and I was a homemaker and a homeschool mom for 30 years. So I have that experience more than most, I think, homeschoolers too. I mean, most homeschoolers don't homeschool that long. So I'll be talking about that and ways to save money. But as I do that, know your why. Know your why with why you want to homeschool. And I did a little article on this because I do write. If you want to catch me over on WordPress, I just started over there. I do Substack too, and then I'll be figuring out more tech to get going more with this stuff. But know your why. So I had just gotten saved, which was a huge life change thing for me. I mean, huge, right? A whole new world of you now because you just got saved. So I had heard the gospel in a church, and I shared this in my testimony. I went to church because I wanted better for my son. I heard the gospel, John 3:16. And then when I was in this church, a lot of people were homeschooling. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what do you mean you homeschool? Like what, like, can't you go to jail for that? Like, you know, what do you mean you homeschool? I never heard of such a thing, right? So, when I started homeschooling, a lot of families were still being persecuted. Nowadays, you homeschool and it's not, most people don't think twice. But the time that I was homeschooling, it was pretty risky still. The people who went before me, they were the pilgrims, they were the heroes because they really risked much, much more to homeschool their kids. And they did go to jail. Many of them did go. So I benefited from their work. And when I started hearing about homeschooling, I just did my homework. I picked up a Charlotte Mason homeschool book, and I was like, wow, you know, I really like this holistic approach to homeschooling. And so I had read Mary Pride's book, I had read John Holt, Ruth Beechick, and I had already graduated early from high school, and I did that on my own. I didn't really have any support or help with that. That was just me. Something like, I think just because of the abortion and everything going on, and I'm skipping school, and I've got this boyfriend, I'm just like, you know, I want out, I'm skipping school, I'm busy working, you know, at a restaurant, and, you know, the adult life was there, and it was just like, why am I still in school? So I finished school early. I think I had one meeting with the guidance counselor, and I'm like, this is what I plan on doing, and they're like, okay, and I went for it, and I did it. And I doubled up on my English. I doubled up. I did my homework in study hall, so I didn't have to, worry about, doing stuff later. I had enough credits, and I just did it. So with that in mind, and not realizing at the time that was a confidence builder, when I heard about homeschooling, I was like, yeah, I can do this. If I can graduate early from high school, if I've been in public school and I can graduate early, why would I not be able to homeschool? You know, it's just kind of figured that out. And so this was only the second or third book I read in my life. I read What to Expect When You're Expecting, when I went through that whole, seeing the truth, seeing what really happened with abortion. And then with the homeschool material, I just started reading. And once I started reading about homeschooling, I couldn't stop. I mean, I would read one book after another. I would look at the back of the books to get more resources. And that's kind of how I've done life. I've just kind of like read my way through life. And anytime I want to know something, I just get a book and I'm like, okay, on the back of this book, who do they recommend? And just going to the library, constantly investing in myself. So, know your why with homeschooling. There's a lot of different philosophies out there. I started with traditional to eclectic to unschooling is kind of what I did. And you think at the beginning that you have to have, you know it all. I'll talk about that, and you don't. You learn with your kids. So my first why was like, because I loved my kids, and I loved my son. And I'm like, I absolutely loved my son, and I bonded with him. And I'm like, why would I want him to go to school? Like, I want to be with him. I want to teach him. So that was my why. I loved my kids, and I just wanted to, be with them. And then I was like, okay, so as I learned more, and I think, as you learn more, the biggest resource is you want to invest in yourself, because you have to continue to learn and continue to stay strong in order to do this. So I was able to still homeschool, even though my husband had cancer. I persevered with that. We didn't have a lot of money. I persevered. We had family saying, oh, I hope you don't ruin their life, and why are you homeschooling? You're not really going to homeschool, and all this stuff. And I persevered. And then when my older ones were teens and I'm still having little ones around me and nursing and taking care of my young ones, I still homeschooled. And that was probably when it got harder for me, because there was such a big gap between, me being pulled in every direction I felt. But I still enjoyed it and still homeschooled. And so that foundation of why, and it always changes, it's like, oh, okay, the socialization is pretty negative, which I knew in public school. And then you continue to find your whys and you just keep on persevering. So I will be talking about how to help moms homeschool, especially nowadays where we're seeing, Peterson just had a video about this. One of this couple's daughters was taken from the state because her transgender, was mandated, that the parents could do nothing about it because she wanted to be a boy. So no other time in history is there a better time now than to homeschool. And I saw this coming years ago when we saw, inflation and prices rising. And it almost looked like the government was purposely making sure that people could not live on one income. And it's like, it was a sacrifice then to live on one income, but now it is really tough for people to live on one income unless the husband is making a lot of money. So now I think what we need is to homeschool even if we have to work. I chose to sacrifice. I chose to stay home and live in a trailer for like 23 years with my kids and my family, which I was able to do because we were busy outside the home all the time. We saw the grandparents with the pool, so they had the pool. I was at the city teaching my kids, how to swim there too and taking swim lessons. I used all kinds of resources I'll talk about. And homeschooling will just save you tons of money. Even if you don't work, you are saving money. So, I'm going to be talking about this more. I'm kind of tired right now. I feel like I've got another errand to do, and then I've got to do some work tonight. So I'm kind of tired, but I will have probably more energy after I get a good night's rest. Like I said, my son was sick the other night. I was not feeling good, and I think just the sickness is affecting me. But again, I will be talking about this and talking about homeschooling and how to raise your kids with your own values, not what the state says, and how to make your own curriculum and how to have support to make your own curriculum. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.